Welcome back to the channel, guys. Now, Elden Ring went ahead and released a new update recently, and it's hefty. Probably one of the largest, or the largest update that they have released for this game. And I'm excited because I want to go through these piece by piece with you guys. Now, in this video, we're just going to be talking about some of the nerfs that they went ahead and implemented, because honestly, there's a lot less nerfs than there are buffs, and it is something I'm extremely excited for. Now, just stick around to the end, and I will give kind of my opinions after I give all the information about the different nerfs and adjustments that it did within this game. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this content, go ahead and just give the video a like. If you enjoyed, go ahead and click subscribe. And without further ado, let's talk about what they nerfed. So first up, I want to start off by talking about the fact that they changed the damage scaling for PvP versus PvE in the game, meaning that they are adding separate damage scaling for different weapons, skills, spells, incantations when playing against other players versus the actual in-game enemies, which is pretty awesome because they're going to use this in the future to balance their weapons and arts and all the different things for invading and PvP modes, which is pretty damn cool. To continue on, they did have some PvP exclusive balance adjustments that they go through, and this portion is where they talk about is not going to affect single player or co-op play. So this portion right here that they went ahead and balanced is kind of like what they just did with the whole PvP portion. So within PvP, they went ahead and across the board increased and improved poise damage and stamina and attack power within PvP for pretty much guarded foes. And then they went ahead and also added more poise damage for normal attacks, things like that, except for some skills and long range attacks. There are some exceptions with the power of some Ashes of War in PvP, which were also lowered across the board. However, the power of these incantations in PvP has been decreased. It's pretty much all of the dragon incantations that you can use. So Dragon Fire, Gil's Flame, Rot Breath, Dragon Eyes, those kinds of things all decreased its power within PvP. And I think that's probably because they were pretty OP. I don't play as much PvP in Elden Ring as probably a lot of other people do, but I do see a lot of gameplay, and it is pretty OP. Now I want to get into talking about some of the general balance adjustments that they went ahead and had for both PvE and PvP. So starting off, the guard strength of the Fingerprint Stone Shield has been decreased. So if that's one of your favorite weapons to use, which I have to say, it was extremely annoying to play against other people using the Fingerprint Shield because the guard strength was so strong. And also, they also decreased the status buildup done by dual wielding weapons. This means particularly if you have two of the same weapon, not a weapon that if you two-handed, so for instance like Radahn's weapons, when you two-hand his, it becomes two. Those are not included in this status buildup decrease. So those are the general balance adjustments for the overall game when it comes to the weapons. Now when it comes to magic and incantations, the Black Blade, the Bestial Sling, and Rot Breath has had certain buffs and nerfs. And I want to quickly go through those. So the Black Blade, its incantation or magic has reduced the stamina consumption, which is a buff, improved the turning performance and shortened recovery time. The sword and wave attack have been changed so that they hit at the same time, which those three right there are buffs. However, the nerfs are the attack power, the stamina power, attack power, and the poise damage of each has been decreased. And they've also decreased the number of times that the wave part hits large enemies. So this just means that that big wave, whenever you do Malekith's Black Blade with his weapon, whenever it does like the spiral waves, when it comes to large enemies, all of those waves are not going to hit the enemies now. So they're just going to be less. Bestial Sling was buffed and nerfed as well. It reduced the stone fragment scatter randomness, which is helpful because there's less randomness. Increased the stamina attack power guarding against guarding enemies. It reduced between 2 hits and adjusted the detection so that 2 hits are always made at close range, which is a nerf, but it's not as much. It's still pretty reliable. And then also decreased poised damage. So that's also a nerf. By how much? We're not really necessarily too sure right now. I would have to do more testing, but I also did not have the damage values beforehand because I hadn't started testing until recently. To continue on, Rot Breath once again was nerfed. It reduced Scarlet Rot buildup effect status. So now using Rotten Breath and Ezekiel's Decay, it will take longer. I actually think it's a significantly longer time for the Scarlet Rot to proc. So Let's continue on to balance adjustments of certain skills. So when it comes to nerfs for the balance adjustments for skills, the Barbaric Roar's extended effect duration was extended. The time between using the skill and performing various actions was reduced, so that's a nice buff. It increased the strong attack power when used with claw or fist weapons. However, it reduced the strong attack power when used with twin blade weapons during the effect. So moving on to the shield crash has its amount of status buildup when used with weapons that have static effects reduced. Meaning that if you are using a shield crash, which is a weapon that which is a skill that you can apply to certain weapons, when you use that crash, if you have that ability, if you have that Ash of War attached to, for instance, let's say bleed or hemorrhage, then it's going to reduce the amount of status buildup within that. Shield crash is pretty OP. A lot of people are using it just to crash just straight into enemies, and it does a lot of poison damage. Pretty good, very effective. Now, Seppuku was nerfed heavily. One, it increased the damage taken by the actual player upon activation, and secondly, it reduced the bleed status buildup effect granted to the weapons, meaning that the weapons just would not do as much bleed status buildup. So you should be able to see that in game if you use a lot of different weapons with Seppuku. I actually think it was actually to a pretty heavy amount. Moving forward, Blood Boom Ritual, which is Mohg's weapon, his Mohg spear, reduced the range of the damage animation trigger on other players. The damage itself is unchanged. So the range is pretty far, and it's also good because it had 360 range. So I wonder if the 360 range, at least up and down, were also nerfed versus left to right, forward and back. Moving forward from there, there were some bug fixes that I want to count as nerfs to the game. Most times bug fixes are not necessarily nerfs, but if you were using it and if you were using these things in a way that could benefit you while it was a bug, then I consider it a nerf. So the first of the two is they fixed a bug where the range of one of the 3 rocks was longer than expected when casting Rock Sling with a left hand staff. Pretty much saying if you had your staff in your left hand and you would cast Rock Sling, there was one of the 3 rocks that would go further than expected. They went ahead and fixed that. And second, they fixed a bug where HP or FP could be recovered when changing equipment to certain types of armor under certain circumstances. Basically saying that there was an issue where if you would change to certain armor, for instance, likely one of the armors that helped you gain your HP or FP back when you're low health or something like that, when changing to that, you probably recover a lot more than what was needed. All right, now here's what I want to give my opinions of this overall change to the game. I don't even want to say necessarily patch, but I don't want to go as far as to say DLC, but change to the game. Definitely these are nowhere near even like a fraction of the amount of buffs that they did to the game. And when I go through the list of buffs, there are so many of them, and I didn't necessarily want to do a full video. I want to kind of just come on, talk about some of the nerfs for you guys, and then tell you guys what I think about the buffs. I think the game is great. I'm still enjoying the game. I still have so many things and ideas to play in the game, and I enjoy streaming it. I enjoy playing it offline. There's so many different mods I can play with, and for them to go ahead and buff so many items and equipment, skills, Ashes of War, so many different things, it really leads me to believe that they're preparing for a new wave of a game, really. And I'm expecting the DLC to be pretty large. There are a lot of DLC rumors going on right now, so I'm pretty excited. If you guys have been playing with a lot of different weapons that, if you guys have been playing with weapons that you feel like are so strong you don't want to check out any other ones, I think this is the perfect time to go ahead and play around with a lot of other ones. Go ahead and get them leveled up, get in some more new games if you guys want, and just prepare, because I think the DLC is going to be potentially coming within the next 6 months or less. I'm very excited for the state of the game right now. There's a lot of people, however, saying that they wish that they would just go ahead and drop DLC or drop more content instead of just updating this dead game, for instance. But I don't think the game is dead at all. I just think that a lot of people have played so much that they're at a point where they want more, but there's still so much to do, especially for me. And I mean, I'm about 500 hours into the game, and not saying that I'm having the most hours in the game, but there's still a lot to do and play. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that these nerfs were pretty good, and I'm excited for the buffs, and I'm excited to try all the different new builds and all that kind of stuff. If you guys enjoy this content, go ahead and do not forget to give it a like. Comment down below if there's anything that you guys feel about this nerf or the patch or anything like that. And most importantly, click that subscribe button if you're already not. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have enjoyed this and have a beautiful goddamn day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.